Boy, that was loud. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the, hey, can you turn me down a little bit? Or I can back up to the wall. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and call the September Board of Adjustment meeting to order. And we're going to go ahead and start with the attendance. Mr. Secretary, if you would, take a roll.
Yes, sir. Miller.
Here.
Jackamore.
Here.
Cummings.
Here.
Stroud. Cawthron. Present. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. All right. Next is the normal housekeeping item of the month, of minutes from the prior meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Motion and a second to approve the minutes from the August meeting. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. All right. No old business, so we're going to go to new. We have a variance from Article 7.8 to allow replacement of a pylon sign that exceeds allowance square footage by 301.84 square feet located at 1319 South Arkansas, submitted by Signs Unlimited on behalf of Leonard's Hardware. Victoria, take it away.
Yes, sir. So as stated, this is a variance from Article 7.8 to the sign size requirements there at 1319 South Arkansas for Leonard's. This is located, as stated, at 1319 South Arkansas within the South Arkansas Commercial Corridor. This is the existing Leonard's Hardware. The property is zoned C2 Highway Commercial, and it is surrounded by C2 zoned properties on all sides. It is surrounded by a variety of uses, including Marva Workshop, a food truck court, and a variety of retail stores. In our review, the application is to allow that replacement of the freestanding pylon sign for Leonard's Hardware. The applicant was originally proposing new signage with a different layout, but is now proposing to replace the existing sign cabinets with new internally illuminated cabinets of the same size, shape, and arrangement as the existing signage. Staff has found that the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist, as the applicant is replacing the signage like for like. If the applicant was replacing the signage like for like and not changing the cabinets as they are proposing to do, then no sign permit would be required at all. However, since they are updating the actual structure of those cabinets, they do have to go through the permitting and variance process. The applicant has met all other variance requirements, and it is staff's recommendation that the Board of Adjustment approve this variance based on the findings that the applicant has demonstrated special conditions exist and the applicant has met all other variance requirements. And that is my staff report. Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Victoria. Alex, you got anything to add to that? You're good? Okay. Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this variance request. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. All right. Okay, next item. We have a variance from Article 3.23.3 requesting relief from the 5-foot sidewalk requirement along North Arkansas Avenue, located at 901 North Arkansas Avenue, submitted by Barrett & Associates on behalf of Mike Fritz. Victoria, you got a staff report on that?
Yes. So as stated, this is a variance from the 5-foot sidewalk requirement located at 901 North Arkansas. This is located within the City Mall Commercial District. This site is the future location of Little Caesars Pizza. It is a C2 zoned property surrounded by C2 College Hill Zone and C4 zoned properties, including a variety of uses such as a bank, a florist, vacant properties, and residential properties. In our review, the applicant has received building permits for a new commercial development. Per Article 3.21.2A, I do apologize, it's the incorrect citing in your staff report, but I did correct that for the presentation. So it's 3.21.2A of the 2022 Russellville zoning code, so last year's zoning code. I'm so sorry. Sidewalks are required as part of a commercial development. Site plan approval shall not be less than 5 feet in clear width. The applicant is requesting to maintain the existing 4-foot sidewalks and not come into compliance with the 5-foot sidewalk requirement. Staff has not found that the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist, as the applicant has cited the existing 4-foot sidewalks as a reason to allow the variance. This circumstance is not peculiar to this site. There are other commercial sites that have redeveloped that had existing 4-foot sidewalks and brought those sidewalks up to code. Examples of this include U-Haul on East Main, Slim Chickens, and Mr. Break and Lube over there on East Main as well. The applicant cited Arvest Bank in their cover letter as one of these properties that have redeveloped. However, that property was redeveloped when there was not a full-time city planner on staff, and therefore some of the guidelines of the zoning code were not being fully enforced in development review. The applicant additionally argued environmental reasons. However, the sidewalk that is torn up is typically able to be reground and reused. Lastly, the applicant cited ADA compliance. 5 feet in clear width always meets ADA requirements as it is the minimum width where wheelchairs can potentially pass by one another on the sidewalk. Ensuring ADA compliance is not just a legal obligation, it's a commitment to creating an inclusive and accessible environment for everyone. While we may not always receive complaints about accessibility issues, it is crucial that we proactively adhere to those ADA standards at all times. So it is staff's recommendation that the Board of Adjustment deny this variance request based on the findings that the applicant has not demonstrated that special conditions exist. Ensuring ADA compliance is not just a legal obligation, it's a commitment to creating an inclusive and accessible environment for everyone. The granting of this variance is not the minimum variance, allowing reasonable use of the land, and the variance is not in line with the purpose and intent of the Russellville zoning code. Are there any questions for me?
Can you elaborate on the environmental concerns that you were talking about?
That was cited in the applicant's letter, which you should have. They cited that, I'm paraphrasing a bit here, that it would kind of be wasteful to tear up the existing sidewalk.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So,
All right.
any other questions for me?
The ADA compliance comment is that it is a legal requirement?
Yes, ADA is legal. No?
Will you step up to the microphone and identify yourself, please?
Good evening. I'm Sarah John Dahl, city planner.
Howdy.
ADA requirements require that you have a 5-foot passing area every so many feet. And please forgive me because I do not know the distance. So it is acceptable to allow a reduced area, and I think it's actually down to 3 feet in width. However, you have to have these passing zones. 5 feet, when we say 5 feet in width always meets ADA requirements, is because you don't have to then provide for those areas where wheelchair accessible, handicapped, people who need that additional space can safely pass one another. It always meets that requirement. And so that's why on commercial, because typically you would have potentially more people walking in front of commercial businesses if you always provide that 5 feet in clear width. It's just safe. Yes.
Is there any 5-foot sidewalk anywhere near this? Or is it all 4 feet?
Yeah, I think adjoining this property, it's all 4 feet. And then Dave did sign up to speak. I apologize, I forgot to give that sheet to you.
Oh, I figured Dave might have something to say about that. Come on, Dave, step up. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Garza with Barrett and Associates.
Yes, Dave Garza with Barrett and Associates. First of all, I just hope that Little Caesars builds. I'm getting tired of people coming and then pulling back out, and so, but he's looking forward to build. We are asking relief from it. One of the things that I had put in there, my environmental concerns is, we're taking out a perfectly good sidewalk. Sidewalk does need to be smooth. It needs to have no cracks in it. And this sidewalk is a very good sidewalk if you've ever been there. It's 4 foot north. Arvest put in a brand new sidewalk 4 foot south. So it meets, everything is there. It just doesn't make sense to pull it out and dump it. Now, I know that Victoria said, you know, you can reuse it. I don't know anybody that does. It gets dumped somewhere. And you know, and if you're going to go with 5-foot sidewalk, then that kind of goes against our landscape ordinance, because what was the purpose of the landscape ordinance was to create green space, trees, bring some cooling to our society, to our commercial areas. So to add more concrete just is the reverse effect to that. So if we can keep that there, then we want to do that. Another thing is, if, and as I was telling the staff, if it gets damaged, okay, that sometimes these sidewalks will get damaged during construction. If it gets damaged and it has to be pulled out, then a 5-foot goes back in. That's a no-brainer, you know. Then that would meet the ordinance. But I think the ordinance, as far as the intent was, any new construction, and to me, any new where there's no sidewalk there has to come back into 5. Not that there was, and there is, you know, an existing 4-foot sidewalk. As far as the other developments that went ahead and put a 5, I have no idea if they tried to get a variance or not. As long as it's a sidewalk, and it is kind of governed by the highway department. I talked to Tabey, they said they have no restriction with the 4-foot sidewalk. Now, the 4-foot sidewalk, as far as ADA, is in compliance. You can go down to a 3-foot sidewalk. If you have anything less than a 5-foot sidewalk, you have to have a 5 by 5 foot turning area, a minimum of 200 feet, or maximum of 200 feet. So 200 feet or less, you have to have a 5. So driveway, we do have a 5-foot sidewalk going down I Street, so that creates that 5-foot by 5-foot square. That's right at the intersection. So we're talking about 60 feet, 70 feet, you know, where we have passing lanes, where we have that 5 by 5. So it works there. And there's, I mean, I've got all kinds of guidelines. So you, like ADA compliant sidewalks, EMC says, provide 3-foot minimum clearance width for continuous passage. If a sidewalk is less than 5 in width, provide passing areas 5 by 5 feet at intervals no farther than 200 feet. All of them say no farther than 200 feet. And they explain what you have to have, you know, what you can use. A T, one of them says if you have a T intersection of a sidewalk and you do have a 5 by 5, it works. And we do have that. So we're just asking for that. One thing I do want to bring in, there is an easement there that was granted to the city back in 2015 for 6 feet, because they were going to construct a 5-foot sidewalk, but it didn't happen. So I don't know why. So if they would have done that, we wouldn't be here. That's all I have.
Thank you, Doug. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Garza or our staff?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance with stipulation if it gets damaged, then it is to come back with 5 foot, like you stated.
Okay, we have a motion to approve with those conditions. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. Okay. Next item up for bid. Variance from a Article 4.1 to allow 8-foot fence along the rear yard located at 800 to 810 South Louisville Avenue, submitted by the City of Russellville on behalf of Janice Phillips, Delia Garcia, Victoria Crossley, Walter Perks, Hannah Harula, and Carolyn Edmondson. You got a staff report on that, Mr. Lindley?
Yes, sir. So this is at 800 to 810 South Louisville. It's a variance from the fence height requirement. So located within the Cyclone neighborhood, these are existing single-family homes. They are R2, medium-density residential zoned properties, surrounded by other R2 and C2 highway commercial zoned properties. Surrounding properties include other single-family homes, a car rental, and a closed gas station. The application is to allow an 8-foot fence on the back side of 800 810 South Louisville along South Knoxville, where the city is constructing new sidewalks. Staff has found the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist due to the increased foot traffic expected on the trail, infringing on the privacy of the homes adjacent to the trail. And the applicant has met all other variance requirements. It is staff's recommendation that the Board of Adjustment approve this variance request based on the findings below. The applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist, and the applicant has met all other variance requirements. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, what is your pleasure? Do what?
Move to grant the variance.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the variance request. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve this variance request. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. And if there's no other business, we are adjourned.